Think you've already seen every bold queer love story out there? Think again, because some of the most intense and unforgettable romances were hidden, censored, or quietly pushed aside. These are not your typical love stories. They are raw, emotional, and often forbidden in ways that make them feel even more powerful. From secret relationships to taboo connections that challenge society, each story pulls you into a world where love refuses to stay silent. If you're ready to discover queer romances that are risky, real, and impossible to forget, this list is about to show you a side of cinema most people never see. 1. Mädchen in Uniform, 1931. This German masterpiece is widely considered the first feature-length film to openly depict lesbian desire. Set in a rigid Prussian boarding school for the daughters of soldiers, the story follows Manuela, a sensitive and lonely student who finds solace in her kind teacher, Fräulein von Bernberg. The forbidden nature of their bond is amplified by the school's oppressive atmosphere, where discipline is absolute and affection is treated as a moral failing. The film's famous goodnight kiss was revolutionary for its time, capturing a moment of genuine tenderness in a world designed to crush it. Beyond the central romance, the movie serves as a powerful anti-authoritarian allegory, released just years before the rise of the Nazi Party. Its depiction of Fräulein von Bernberg's defense of the great spirit of love remains a defiant cry for personal freedom and emotional honesty in the face of systemic cruelty. 2. Victim, 1961. At a time when homosexuality was a criminal offense in the UK, Victim was a daring act of cinematic activism. Dirk Bogarde stars as Melville Farr, a high-flying barrister whose secret past puts his career and marriage at risk. The forbidden romance here is tragic. A young man named Jack Boy Barrett is being blackmailed for his relationship with Farr, and eventually takes his own life to protect him. Farr chooses to dismantle his own carefully constructed life to hunt down the blackmailers, exposing the blackmailer's charter, the legal system that victimized gay men by making them easy targets for extortion. The film was the first in British history to use the word homosexual, and is credited with helping to sway public opinion toward the eventual decriminalization of homosexuality in 1967. It is a tense, courageous noir that captures the crushing psychological weight of living a double life. 3. The Leather Boys, 1964. A gritty standout of the British kitchen sink realism movement, The Leather Boys explores a forbidden attraction within the hyper-masculine world of 1960s biker culture. Reggie is a young working-class man whose hasty marriage to the brassy, immature Dot quickly sours. He finds a different kind of companionship with Pete, a fellow biker whose eccentricities and devotion offer Reggie an escape from his domestic misery. While the film's queer subtext was daring for 1964, it is the unspoken nature of their bond that makes it so poignant. Reggie is initially oblivious to Pete's true feelings, viewing their closeness as simple camaraderie. The tension peaks during a motorcycle race to Edinburgh, where the boundaries of their friendship are tested against the backdrop of industrial London. It is a rare, honest look at how working-class men of the era navigated intimacy when they lacked the vocabulary to define it. Yossi and Jagger, 2002. This Israeli drama provides a tender, heartbreaking look at two men serving in the military on the snowy border of Lebanon. Yossi is a stern commanding officer, and Jagger is his charismatic deputy. Together, they maintain a secret romance that offers the only warmth in their cold, high-stakes environment. The forbidden element is literal. Military regulations and the constant threat of active combat mean their love must remain an open secret among their squad. The film captures the agonizing silence of their relationship. They can only truly be themselves during stolen moments in the snow, away from the prying eyes of their fellow soldiers. Unlike many war films, the focus here is not on the politics of the conflict, but on the fragility of human connection when death is a constant possibility. It remains a landmark of queer cinema for its raw, unsentimental portrayal of duty versus desire.
6. Dry Wind, 2020. This Brazilian neo-noir is a sensory exploration of a man living a bifurcated life in a conservative, sun-drenched industrial town. Sandro is a quiet factory worker who spends his days in routine and his nights seeking anonymous encounters in the woods or at local swimming holes. The forbidden nature of his desire is not just societal, but deeply internal. He is a man who has mastered the art of being invisible while yearning for a connection he cannot name. When a mysterious, handsome stranger arrives in town, Sandro's carefully constructed walls begin to crumble, leading to a psychosexual thriller that blurs the line between reality and obsession. The film is notable for its bold, nonverbal storytelling and its depiction of the cruising subculture as both a place of liberation and intense danger. It captures the heavy, humid atmosphere of a life lived in the shadows of a small town where everyone is watching, yet no one truly sees. 7. Eastern Boys, 2013. This French drama by Robin Campillo begins as a tense, cold-blooded thriller before evolving into a profoundly moving, forbidden romance. Daniel, a middle-aged Parisian businessman, is drawn to Marek, a young Ukrainian immigrant he meets at a train station. What starts as a transactional and dangerous encounter, Daniel's home is subsequently swarmed and cleaned out by Marek's gang, slowly transforms into a fragile, paternal, and romantic bond. The romance is forbidden by massive power imbalances, legal status, and the violent oversight of the boss, the gang leader who treats the young immigrants as his property. As Daniel attempts to rescue Marek from this cycle of exploitation, the film explores the risks one is willing to take for a love that the state deems illegal and society deems predatory. It is a gritty, unsentimental look at how intimacy can bloom in the most hostile and transactional of environments, defying the borders of class and nationality. 8. I Can't Think Straight, 2008. Set against the backdrop of upper-class London and Jordan, this film navigates the complex intersection of traditional Middle Eastern values and queer identity. Tala, a Palestinian Christian preparing for her 4th attempt at a lavish wedding, meets Layla, a shy British Indian Muslim woman. Their immediate attraction sparks a forbidden romance that threatens to dismantle the rigid expectations of their powerful families. The conflict is not just about sexuality, but about the weight of cultural heritage and the fear of bringing shame to a tight-knit community. While the tone is lighter than many on this list, the stakes are genuinely high. Both women face the potential loss of their families and their social standing. The film beautifully captures the internal tug-of-war between personal happiness and the duty to uphold a tradition that has no room for their love. It serves as a vibrant, hopeful exploration of choosing oneself over the straight path laid out by others. 9. Two Drifters, 2005. This Portuguese film is a haunting, atmospheric meditation on the forbidden romance that exists only in the wake of tragedy. After a young man is murdered in a homophobic hate crime, his secret boyfriend Rui is left to mourn in total isolation, unable to publicly claim his grief. He eventually crosses paths with the victim's sister, Adette, who is experiencing a phantom pregnancy and a psychotic break fueled by her own loss. Together, they form a surreal, disturbing bond as they both haunt the memory of the man they loved. The romance is forbidden by the silence imposed by death and the social refusal to acknowledge the validity of Rui's relationship. Director João Pedro Rodrigues uses a somber, cinematic style to show how a hidden love can turn into a literal ghost, trapped between the world of the living and the forgotten. It is a visceral, often difficult watch that explores the psychological toll of a love that was never allowed to breathe in the light. 10. The Country Teacher, 2008. In this quiet Czech drama, a gifted natural sciences teacher leaves a prestigious position in Prague for a remote village school, hoping to bury his identity in the rural landscape. He forms a deep friendship with a local widow and her teenage son, but his repressed desires for the boy eventually lead to a moment of forbidden crossing of boundaries that threatens his entire existence. The film avoids easy cliches, instead focusing on the teacher's profound loneliness and the impossibility of his situation in a traditional community where he is a respected outsider. The romance is forbidden by the ethics of his profession, the age gap, and the boy's own heterosexuality, creating a tragic tension that simmers beneath the surface of village life. It is a stark, honest portrayal of a man trying to find a place where he can simply be, only to realize that the secrets he carries are the very things that keep him exiled from the human connection he craves.
Dream A40, 1965. Directed by Jamaican-born filmmaker Lloyd Record, this 16-minute short is a surreal and haunting relic of underground British cinema. It follows a young gay couple on a road trip along the A40 motorway whose journey takes a dark turn after a run-in with a police officer. The film shifts into a guilt fantasy, where the men imagine themselves being judged and executed by a grotesque, faceless bureaucracy. This surrealist approach perfectly captures the internalized homophobia and legal paranoia of the pre-Stonewall era.
So those were some of the most forbidden queer romances you've probably never heard of, stories that dared to cross lines, break rules, and show love in its rawest form. If any of these films surprised you or made it onto your watch list, let me know in the comments. And if you know another hidden gem, drop it below. I'd love to check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because there are many more bold, underrated, and unforgettable stories coming your way.